So, students, have you ever read a book or watched a movie and thought this reminds me of another story I know? Sometimes you give this kind of expression. Have you noticed that the Lion King feels similar to Shakespeare's Hamlet? Or that Amish Tripathi's novels remind you of ancient Indian myths? Now, that's because stories often borrow from, reflect, or talk to other stories. Now, in this context, I'm going to explain a very important term called intertextuality. Now, the word intertextuality, this word was first used by Julia Chris, Kristeva, a French theorist in late 1960s. And Julia Kristeva gave a very remarkable statement, and the statement was every text is a mosaic of. This was the statement which was given by Julia Kristeva. Every text is a mosaic of quotations. Now, what basically this means? This means a text is not an isolated creation. It's new combination of elements from other sources, consciously or unconsciously incorporated or transformed. So, no text is completely original. Every text contains echoes, references, or influences from other texts. Now, in simple words, intertextuality means texts talk to each other. In simple terms, you will understand intertextuality that texts talk to each other. Writers borrow ideas, words, styles from older works. They retell stories in new ways. They sometimes challenge or change the meaning of older texts. This makes literature feel like a conversation between authors across time and cultures. Dear students, let us take one example from T.S. Eliot's famous poem, The Wasteland. Now, in The Wasteland, look at the opening line, famous line. I think all of you remember this. April is the cruelest month. Don't you see that this line echoes Chaucer? Chaucer's Canterbury Tales. You look at another point in The Wasteland, we have Fisher King legend, a reference from ancient myth. Then we have lines from Dante, lines from Baudelaire, and then we have the references from the Hindu texts like Upanishads. What is this basically? This is intertextuality. Eliot mixes these different voices to create a poem rich with meaning. That is what we call intertextuality. You can take the example of Ulysses by James Joyce. Same publication here. It tells the story of Homer's Odyssey, set in modern, Dublin. Now read uh, Amish Tripathi. Read Amish Tripathi's Shiva trilogy, for example. Shiva trilogy. He retells the story of Lord Shiva in a new fictional style, mixes ancient Hindu mythology with modern storytelling. Characters like Shiva, Sati, Daksha, they come from ancient texts like the Puranas. But Amish imagines Shiva the human hero who becomes a god. This is intertextual in the sense because Amish is using older myths to create new stories. Uh, why is intertextuality important? Because it helps us discover deeper meanings in texts, shows how literature is connected like a web, and it makes reading more interesting because we notice echoes and references we might not have seen before. When we study intertextuality, we realize that writers are talking to each other across time and cultures. But while reading intertextuality or understanding intertextuality, you should not get confused with other terms which are generally more or less the same. For example, illusion. You should not get confused with this because allusion is a brief reference to another text, person, or event. Allusion is short and subtle. Intertextuality can be larger, shaping entire texts. Hypertext, for example, you should not get confused with this, with hypertext. Hypertext, uh, what is hypertext? It means clickable digital link. Now, hypertext means clickable digital links connecting one text to another. For example, you click a link in an online article. Intertextuality is about literary or thematic connections, not digital links. You should not get confused with adaptation because adaptation means turning a text into another form or medium. For example, novel turned into a movie. Adaptation changes the format. Intertextuality stays within texts. You should not get confused with influence. Influence means one writer's style or ideas affect another writer. Example, Shakespeare influenced many poets. Influence is often one way, intertextuality is more like a dialogue between texts. You should not get confused with parody. Parody means copying another text in a funny or exaggerated way. For example, a comic movie making fun of a serious film. Parody is a type of intertextuality, but not all intertextuality is parody. So you should remember these points. So uh, intertextuality means how texts talk to each other across time and cultures. And remember, this term was first used by Julia Kristeva. I have given you the example from the wasteland, from Ulysses, from Amish Tripathi, and I have also told you that it's important not to confuse it with terms like illusion, hypertext, influence, adaptation, parody, etc. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the channel. I will keep on providing you the good material. Thank you very much.